Hello everybody. It is September 13th, 2025 here in the United States of America. Now this is the second video I'm making today. This is just going to be a short, brief one about something that I've been meaning to talk about for the last several weeks and haven't had a chance to do so. And that's about this misunderstanding of the cultural direction that the West is headed in. Much of it is in response to disorder, chaos, uncertainty, and this attempt at perpetual revolution. It's become pretty apparent that the American left, specifically the American left, has this new strategy of, and they've said as much, finding a hip young streamer to be their version of Joe Rogan so they can bring back the youth votes. What they don't seem to understand is that the youth vote swinging over to the right wasn't a matter of somebody being cool and hip. It was a direct reaction to the cultural decline of the United States since the 60s, the inevitable consequence of social philosophies that have led to what many people perceive to be chaos and disorder. I would say that the sexual revolution of the 60s led to a severe decline in the family. Now, I know this is like a milquetoast conservative talking point, but it's the truth. Fathers are less incentivized to take care of their children. Women are less incentivized to settle down. I think the Industrial Revolution itself played a big part in this too, with more people being needed in the workforce and women being pulled into the workforce. It's kind of went hand in hand with the things that were pushed since the 60s and a little bit prior. So women went into the workforce in larger numbers. They didn't need to rely on men as much. Relations between people weren't something that was specifically happened mostly within marriage. It became simply a matter of personal gratification, consequence-free, especially with the availability of birth control and abortion for people, to where that kind of one-on-one lifelong connection that would produce large families and stable environments was no longer something viewed as a necessity. People wanted to have fun. And I think society has suffered greatly for it. I think young children look around, not children, but young men and women look around at this and they yearn for something better. Religion has been stripped away too, slowly but surely, to where a lot of young men and women are flocking to the Eastern Orthodox Church and traditional Roman Catholicism again, to find that order. There's a deeper spiritual need that they're trying to fill. They're not just going places where people seem cool and hip and fun. Again, there's a deep spiritual hole that they're trying to fill. Because of the direction that society's headed, has gone. We've become very nihilistic, very materialistic, very self-obsessed, obsessed with wealth and status, constantly looking for things to give us self-gratification, and this need to find the personal fulfillment. And this society we built is not offering it. It's not giving it to us. It's not giving people a reason for getting out of bed. It's not giving people deeper meaning. People are worried about the future. These young men and women are worried about the future that they've inherited and the future that they're going to give their children. They're not living as comfortably as the boomer generation did. They're struggling to buy homes. They're realizing the economy is set up in a way that frankly just isn't fair for them. They want to start families, yet every person they meet out there, men and women alike, are broken, nihilistic, hedonistic people that they can't form families with and oftentimes have destructive relationships with. And no amount of finding a cool and hip streamer is going to change that. It's not going to bring people back from yearning for those things. Simply repackaging hedonism and porn addiction and free love inside of a nice little neat cool package presented by a guy that's fun and well spoken and has a cool show and has cool people on, shows it's not something that's going to work. And I think it shows the extreme disconnect that much of the American left seems to have with the human condition as a whole. We're not just malleable, programmable robots that can just be propagandized and told things and then we'll just do it. At a certain point, when human beings have that deeper need for spiritual connection, deeper need for meaning, they start to find those things, and no amount of repackaging what they ran away from is going to make them come back to it. I think this entire idea of finding this cool, hip, left-wing Joe Rogan is something that would actually achieve anything at all. You're not going to convince these young men and women to pull themselves back away from Christianity by coming out with new arguments for atheism or new arguments against Christianity. Like, they know what Christianity is offering. They know full well what Christians believe. I think the Eastern Orthodox Church does a very good job at articulating what Christian beliefs are supposed to be and traditionally have always been. I'd say Roman Catholicism does a pretty good job as well. People see those things and they realize they want those things. Not because they're packaged and handed to them by a cool and hip person, but because it fills a deeper need they have for spirituality and meaning. I think this is why the younger generations are slowly swinging back towards, I guess, the right. And I wouldn't even say it's a swing back towards the right. Many of them are swinging towards traditionalism and more pragmatism. Many of these young people, while moving in very traditional social direction, are looking at corporatism as well, and finding deep faults with it, like our tax system, and finding deep faults with it. Worshiping a GDP over the health of families and the health of a society as a whole. They're starting to question that as well. They're also kind of swinging against naked capitalism as well. I'm not going towards socialism, but wanting real pragmatic solutions to the social and economic problems they're facing. And I think this, the left doesn't seem to grasp what's actually happening here, and I think a lot of people on the right don't really grasp it either. That's why they're confused by the economic stances that some of these young people are taking. While they're very socially conservative, they're not exactly, when it comes to the economics, aligning with their boomer parents and grandparents on this pure free market. And also too, when it comes to government power, many of them aren't libertarians. They want the state to assert itself and reestablish order. They don't want this chaos that I think that libertarianism offers that as well, because they're running from chaos, they're running from uncertainty. They want something grand to be part of, and I think that's what a lot of people on the right and left are missing, which is why I think there's so much confusion over this movement. I think there's more confusion on the left over it, I think, because of how they look at the human condition and this dismissal for spirituality and order and meaning, the need for those things that many people have. They sort of dismiss that, so they don't really understand how to re-attract this voting base, how to bring these people back in, because they just have a fundamental lack of understanding of what's actually happening in our culture. But it's really all I wanted to talk about in this video. I didn't want to go too far into it, but I don't think this having a cool left-wing Joe Rogan is actually going to fix any of their problems. And I'm saying this from, I have my own views, obviously, on things and my own political perspectives and opinions, but I'm saying this is if you were a strategist from the outside looking in and having a good understanding of what's actually happening, this is what I'd be saying to them. These things aren't going to work. Many of these social positions are eventually going to have to be abandoned because society is swinging away from them. There's nothing they can do about that. And giving into violent revolution to maintain the popularity of some of those ideas, or to establish an order that's going to keep those ideas as a concrete part of our society for a long period of time, isn't going to work either. But anyways, that's all I wanted to talk about in this video. I will be back Wednesday with another video. I'm only doing, generally speaking, 2 videos a week right now because of my work schedule. When things calm down a little bit, perhaps I'll go back to 3. But if you like this content, please give the video a like and subscribe. And have a good one.